Hello everyone, it's time for another impressions video. Thankfully we have a code for Bloodstained, the latest Kickstarter success from Iga himself, which is nice to see after, Castlevania and all that.
Yeah, so we all backed the game, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Also, John isn't here right now because he's trapped in his editing dungeon, just so you know.
He's still playing Pokemon.
I don't think, he's probably, like, foaming at the mouth right now.
Oh no, no. At
He,
DMG, he is dying to play this game, and he just
yeah,
can't.
yeah, so don't worry, we're pretty committed to doing an actual playthrough of this because, spoiler warning, it's great. So, um, we'll do a full playthrough of this at some point, but we just wanted to talk about our early impressions just to get started for the moment. So, just to kind of discuss where we are at the moment, Ryan has barely just started.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure I at least played it a little bit.
Did you get off the ship at least?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's
It's one of those I didn't want to really start the game because I'm planning on recording a few things right after TMG. So.
yeah, that's fair. Yeah. And Derrick is the one who's farthest ahead because you were at like what 70-80% map completion, was it?
75%. I just gotten the. I don't want to spoil anything as
Yeah.
far as abilities for you guys, but it's essentially the late game ability that allows you to go everywhere.
Okay. Yeah, like the Black Panther in Arya Sorrow, basically.
Well, basically the thing that the high jump type thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All
Yeah.
right. Yeah, that does basically let you go
It's
everywhere.
not quite the same. I like the twist on it in this game, but I'm not, again, I
Okay.
don't want to spoil that.
Yeah. And I'd say I'm like maybe halfway through. Like I'm at like 45% map completion ish. I've done a couple of things, but I've got a long way to go. And that's actually another thing is that it took me like 6 hours to get to the point where I am right now. And most of the other because I've only played four of the other Metroidvanias. I've played Aria and Dawn of Sorrow, Portrait of Ruin, and Order about like half of Order of Ecclesia, and none of those games feel as long as this one is, or as big either.
Well, remember, most of those were GBA games.
Yeah, that's true, but if I remember correctly, like the map size is still bigger than like
Yeah.
Symphony of the Night for at least
Well,
the DS ones.
it's weird. Everyone's calling it, Symphony of the Night. I'd say it's Symphony of the Night's kind of map situation, but the game itself plays more like Aria.
Which I'm totally okay with because Arya is my
Yeah.
favorite one out of all of them so far.
I think it's the second best after Symphony because Symphony just does so many things right. Aria fixes a lot of things, but Bloodstained is very much kind of the best of both worlds in a lot of good ways.
It's it does solve one of the major issues I had with Arya, and I love Arya too. It's definitely one of my favorite Castlevanias. I think it is my favorite Castlevania, at least of the Metroidvania style Castlevanias. But if you wanted to get every spirit in that
It's just
game,
RNG.
yeah, it is a nightmare. It is a lot easier to get shards
Oh.
from enemies in this game.
Oh,
They
yeah.
are just a lot quicker. It still take a while, but you're not going to be there for hours. Most I've had to farm is maybe 10 minutes at best, at most. But I've not really focused on it yet. But a few of them, are like, okay, I'm kind of interested in what this shard is. I'm going to grab
Yeah.
it.
So that's actually one of the reasons why I really liked Aria of Sorrow is it felt like you were always getting something new because you were getting soul drops relatively frequently, but again, like compared this game to Aria, it is faster than that, which is really good because when I played Dawn of Sorrow, it felt like that game was starving me from soul drops even more compared to Aria. So it's just like going back to Dawn of Sorrow after this must be torture. So I'm probably not going to do that. Also, the touchscreen gimmicks in that game are not fun. But anyway, that's off topic.
Yeah, regardless, Bloodstained, the only thing kind of gameplay-wise I'm a little less inclined about is I think Miriam is a smidge slow. She kind of has the kind of the weightiness of most Metroidvanias, which is fine from a design standpoint. I'm a little less, mind you, I'm the platformer guy, so I prefer my Mario's, my Sonics. So the little bit of weight behind them is a bit much for me at times.
I didn't really have any trouble so far. Like, I mean, her running speed is a little bit slow. Like, I maybe, in a perfect world, she would have been a hair faster, but I think for the most part she controls really, really well.
If she controls fine, I just think I would prefer a smidge bit of tweaking.
I never had that much issue with the speed. I think it comes up for me the most with the whole speed thing is when I have to backtrack through certain areas, and the backtracking isn't too bad in this game. The teleporters are spread pretty well.
Yeah.
And of course, there are shards that you get later that do increase your run speed. So you can equip that and you'll be good to go.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, I guess let's just talk about, before we get into the gameplay, let's just talk about some of the more basic things so far. Like, I guess we're not really going to talk too much about the story. I guess because it is, A, Ryan doesn't know any of it, and B, spoilers, and C, we haven't beaten the game yet. But I do like Miriam a lot as a character, which I wasn't sure I was going to at first when I was looking at preview stuff, because...
Yeah, I was worried she was going to be a little bit too much like Shanoa, and Shanoa, I love Shanoa, but she is kind of like this blank slate because of the whole memory loss thing, and Miriam can get a little sassy, which I enjoy.
She's also playful too, is the other thing. Like, she's sassy with people is the thing, and she's also kind of like bubbly, which you don't really expect, considering that, you know, she's got the dark and tragic backstory and whatnot. But, like, you know, things like how when you do the cooking, she like jumps up and down and things like that, and her wanting to get her picture taken, and, you know, talking with like the barber guy and whatnot. It's all...
Or talking to the old lady after she gives her food and be like,
she's like,
you don't want to share?
Yeah, so I really like her too. The other side characters so far, like the other main characters, are okay. None of them really stand out to me a whole lot. Like, I like Johannes, but other than that, none of them are really clicking with me to a huge extent. I should say that that's more like the main characters, because I actually really like the side characters that you meet, particularly the monsters in the castle. Odie and, I forget the barber's name. Those guys are great. I love those guys.
Yeah, I'm surprised at the amount of customization they give you in this game.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, you can you can change your hair, and you can give her freaky eyes and stuff like that. It's awesome. I also like how certain aesthetic stuff changes when you equip certain items.
Yeah, accessories can definitely change up. For a long time, I had this thing called the hyperventilator that.
I found that too.
I put that on, and like it was so good for so long that I just had her mouth covered for most of the time. And so when I finally took it off, I was like, "Oh, that's what her face looks like, right?"
Yeah. I found a voice changer item which gave her a squeaky high pitched voice too, and it was just like, okay, the stats on this are good, but I cannot put up with that for the rest of the game. So I took it off. Yeah. So the game does have a lot of charm and personality. What are you guys thinking of the music so far?
I mean, it's funny with that first piece you hear on the ship. It's like, oh yeah, this is Symphony of the Night. Like, this is like, it is right on there. But as you go further in the castle, I think it definitely starts developing a sound of its own. That's not, that's definitely has that gothic rock to it, but is not entirely a rip-off of the Castlevania soundtrack. I was gonna
say, it's hard to compete with Castlevania's music.
Yeah.
And as a result of being a similar game, they're going to try to go for that, but you kind of like, well, I could be listening to Bloody Tears or whatever. It's like, it's good, but, you're, as longtime players, we're used to, hearing certain songs.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. At the same time, I feel like the tracks are really good for atmosphere. And there are at least one really good rock out track I've heard so much in the tower area, which is awesome. So, I'm liking it so far. I wouldn't say that it's like phenomenal music for the most part, but I like it a lot. So, I think that they are doing a good job. And I still have quite a few areas left, so hopefully there's still a few.
Oh yeah, you definitely have a lot more new songs to come in.
Yeah.
Some playing like in ways that I just wouldn't expect. Some are like a little softer or not as hard rock. It definitely gives it its own flavor. Actually, speaking of the tower area, Ted, I I like what this game does to change up the castle design, like to actually take advantage of the fact that this is in 3D. And the tower is like one of the best examples of how you're just constantly rotating around it. And
yeah, that was
really cool.
That was something I noticed from what little I did play and just watching some other clips. Is that yeah, it feels like you're moving around a castle instead of a flat 2D part of the castle.
So I like that area visually, although it's really annoying because the map is really weird there. And
Yeah, it is.
so they actually have a really good feature on the map that every game with a map should have, where you can like make a little mark on there to remind yourself of stuff. So like since the way that like you keep on going around the tower in a circle, so sometimes like you put a dot there and it's like, okay, well, where on the tower does this mean? I don't know. I mean, that's a nitpick because it is a cool sequence. Or I mean, I guess I should rephrase, that would be a cool sequence on the PS4 version, which is not the one I'm playing. These two guys are both playing the PS4 version. For my first run, I'm playing it on the Switch version, which
to be fair, is fine. It's not like it's a broken game.
No, don't get me wrong. Like, this is no Mighty Number 9 Wii U situation here, and I'm having a blast playing it on Switch for the first time, but it is rough. It is graphically very, very rough. I've been playing it in handheld mode for the most part, so I'm not entirely sure how it stands docked, but in handheld mode, the game a lot of the times looks like it could be played on the Dreamcast. The textures are that muddy. And I mean, for the most part, it's not something that I would notice, but the game does slow down a decent bit from time to time, and there is some stutter in the load times. How much does the game generally load on PS4?
Not too much.
Yeah, I don't really notice the load times, to be honest. There's a few places, but nothing too
It's
bad.
it's like 2 to 3 seconds tops when it decides to.
Yeah.
Okay, because sometimes on Switch, even when you're in like the same area and you transition between rooms, there will be like a good second to second and a half where the game will pause before loading up the next room and stuff like that. And it's a minor thing, but it does take you out of it a little bit. I mean, again, I'm still having a great time playing it, but I should mention that if you unless if you like are dead set on this being a portable experience, like unless if that is 100% your priority, I would recommend getting it on any other platform for the time being, at least until the game gets patched.
They have said they are working on it, so
which is good to hear. Yes.
I will say that there, even on the PS4 version, though, a new patch has come out, and I haven't had a chance to play it since this new patch, but there's still a bit of jankiness with the PS4 version. Like, there's some stuttering here and there when you're doing certain things, and I've had some bits where I've like tried to go into the menu as soon as I loaded up a save file after I died, and it'll like freeze a little bit. And or kind of little janky moments here and there, and they've seemed to be less and less as I go through, or maybe I just notice them less, because the general feeling I got is the more I play this game, the more I love it, and the less I care about its issues.
That's true.
And thankfully, a lot of its issues on the technical side are we live in an age with patches, so
Yeah.
we can hopefully get a better version going forward.
I mean, I'm still not in love with the art style. Like, I mean, it is a 3D game, but it's still, I don't know, it still doesn't, like, click with me visually a whole lot. Like,
I like it a lot. I like it more than kind of a lot of games of this style, either indie or smaller scale, tend to go a lot more of the portrait route.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually like the 3D methods of it a lot more, just to kind of give it its own visual flair and identity to it.
Yeah,
I guess it does make it stand out a little bit more. That does make sense. It's just, I don't know, I feel like something's missing visually. I can't put it into words quite well.
I'm not sure what that would be, but I don't know. I've accepted it for what it is, and I've grown to enjoy some of the characters. I'm kind of curious where the story's going, because the funny thing is I accidentally got like around 50% or a little less than 50%, I got the bad ending. Like I was exploring, trying to figure out where I needed to go. Oh, hi,
Hi,
Jeeb.
final boss.
Yeah, exactly. Hi, Jeeble. All right, bye, Jeeble. I was able to beat him, and then like the funny thing is, it's like this is definitely a bad ending. Like the castle doesn't disappear. They're saying like, the church is going to clean up the rest, and then rather than cut the credits after that whole little scene, it just goes game over. Oh, okay, this is definitely the bad ending. So I went elsewhere to try to find other things.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I completely lost my train of thought.
Oh no. Well, I can pick up from there. How much of the side content have you been doing, Ted?
A good amount. Like whenever I see one of the monsters that you have to kill for the monster cleanup rewards, I grind that sucker because it's only ever like 3 or 4. Like I think the most I've seen so far is like 8 for a monster cleanup thing. So whenever I see those, I do them right away. I've been trying to do cooking because I really like what they did. I like the alchemy and cooking in this game a lot because that's actually one of the things I like the most about this game is that you get drops constantly. So you're not feeling like you're starved for drops like in the other Castlevania games where it feels like nothing drops ever. And it gives you stuff to do with all those drops, which is really cool. And I like, being incentivized to cook stuff because it's like, okay, well, whenever you make a new thing, you get a permanent stat boost. So it's like, okay, that's cool. So I've been trying to do the cooking missions. I've been a little bit. I can't find one of the items I can do for one of the items.
Is it like a wand thing? Because that's the one I've been stuck on for hours. I have yet to find that stupid weapon.
It's the. I'm trying to remember. Like I gave her the Brigadine. And then I think I had to give her, like, the bat ears or something like that. And then she gave me, like, this quest for some Irish-sounding
Yes,
name.
I'm on that same one. I am still yet to find that weapon. I have no idea where it's at.
Yeah.
Start attacking every single wall.
Yeah, I attack a bunch of walls because they have HP ups and MP ups and gun and like ammunition ups all over the place.
Yeah, the breakable walls are much more frequent in this game than in the other Castlevania games, which I appreciate because if you're gonna do that to me and make me swipe every wall throughout the entire game, then put some stuff in there. Oh, speaking of Ryan, very, very early on in the game, like right after you leave the first town, if you go down a screen right after you leave the main town area, and there's a breakable wall to your left where you can get the 8-bit coin, which lets you forge a high-powered weapon for free. Early on in the game.
Right after leaving the town, go down.
Yeah.
Yes, like not even before, like in the area with the zombies and bats before you get into the castle.
So the first screen of Castlevania, got it.
Pretty much. I mean, you should naturally if you've played Castlevania.
Yeah, I would say I've played these
you'll
games
find
plenty
this.
before. I know what to look for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the square is like to the right of the save room, if I remember correctly.
I'll find it. Thanks, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, I still haven't spent my 8-bit coin because I didn't know what to get. And a big thing I've been doing this time around is I just been trying to fill in all the techniques. Like every time I get a weapon that is listed on those techniques that you find amongst all those books. Because there's different bookshelves as you go along, and they can do these special MP using attacks. I was like, all right, we'll just build up and master these techniques, and I don't fully know exactly what you get from them. I think they power them up and make them more powerful.
That's how
if
it
you
worked in
master them.
Portrait of Ruin, at least. Like, if you
Yeah.
used the Bible or the axe enough, it became like a bigger axe or whatever.
See, I don't know if it's that major of a visual difference. I just see like maybe a power difference, and I don't know, but I'm kind of addicted to doing it because I've just been doing it since the beginning of the game, and I have discovered that my favorite of these abilities can belong to the katana because you can do this awesome counter move if you get the timing right, or this 3-part special attack that just crits like crazy and does massive damage.
Yeah, so I found a katana that can do that stuff just recently, and it's a cool move for sure, but it eats up like half of my MP if I miss, and it
I
also
have a
makes
lot more MP now.
and it also makes me do Street Fighter commands, which, as we all know, I'm terrible at doing. The boots, though, the boots have such cool commands, though, like the down attack where you do like the flippy thing, is the best. And I've been wanting to find a new pair of boots for like the past 3 hours so that I can start using them again. I really like all the weapons and spells that get dropped all over the place. Like, as an armor drop from the Shovel Knight inspired enemy, I got a piece of armor that let me play as Shovel Knight, which is like the big bulky version. So he didn't like play like Shovel Knight in the game, but it was so stupid and fun that and he does a lot of damage too. Is the other thing. Like I got him at like around like hour 4 or so, and one of his attacks can do like 90 damage or something like that, which is a lot for that point in the game. So that's cool. Like
it's one of the better Shovel Knight cameos because beyond that armor, the other thing that you get is steel and a shovel, which is a spear type weapon, and it's just like, okay, that's pretty clever. Steel-like shovel. You didn't get that? Oh man,
No.
I laughed at that immediately when I saw that. I got the one drop of steel, then I got the other drop of the shovel. I'm like, all right, I see what you did there. That's pretty good. And you know, it's one of the more fun cameos of Shovel Knight because it's cool. Shovel Knight is an enemy. He's been corrupted by demons or whatever. And that's the thing. There's some fun enemy designs here. Again, trying to go. You can kind of see the Castlevania inspiration with some of them. Some of them pulled directly from Castlevania, like the Buer, or Buer, whatever you call them.
The Dullahan head is very clearly the Medusa head.
Yes. Even turns you to stone.
Some of the familiars are pretty similar too. Like I've got a knight, I've got a fairy, I've got a sword. So you know, there's that.
Does the sword familiar take forever to grind up?
I don't know. Like I'm still.
The knight guy, I think it's the white knight or the silver knight that I got. He's my most powerful, just because I kept finding the stuff that I needed for him. But now I need to, in order to get him to his max, I need to find Orichalcum, and he does a lot of damage. What's also really cool about him is he'll defend you from attacks.
Oh yeah, I saw that too. One thing that I noticed about the fairy too is she said, "Look over here in a room where there was a secret passage too." Which I don't know if she ever did that.
They did
Okay.
in some of the past ones, but it's still cool to see happen. I think it happened in Symphony of the Night.
Awesome.
But yeah, it's again, they have these uses, and I think, you know, having all these drops, having all these things that you can do with the drops, and so many weapons. Oh my God, there's so many weapons in this game. I want to collect it all. Like, I really want to.
You're not going to have the time to.
Maybe not, but I'm going to do my best because I'm feeling it where I want to just grab it all and see what it all is. And
so I imagine 100% is just going to be tied to map completion.
So they do map. The game does keep track of map completion. Mm-hmm. Like that's the big percent you see like on your save file and stuff. The game in the compendium does track monsters beaten, shards gotten, and their other drops. I don't think that, like, unless if you want to be really picky, the game will hold off giving you... I mean, there might be something special for getting all the shards. I'm not sure. But
probably like a trophy or something.
Probably just a trophy, but at the very least, it's like the reward is, hey, you have all the shards.
Yeah, that's true, because each individual shard you get is also, you know... Like, I mean, of course you get some duds, but there's always a new one, so it's not really... And most of the ones I've gotten are pretty cool. Like, one of the ones I got really early on was from the Barbados Archer guy, where it's pretty simple, but you just get to aim and shoot, like, 3 arrows. But it packed a wallop, and was really, really good for that.
I got this one aiming spell. I don't want to reveal it since you haven't gotten to this point yet, but it just tore... Like, I found a dragon enemy, and I killed him in, like, 3 seconds because of this spell. Drains MP like crazy, but that's whatever. I'm tearing through these guys, and it's pretty great.
Yeah, I think it's cool that, you know, there's a lot of stuff that I want to use, but I also don't want to switch because I like the stuff I'm using so much. Because it also, I think one of the things is that so far, it doesn't seem like one thing is clearly much better than all the other things, too. Which is a problem in some of these kinds of games where you have
anyone.
Exactly.
At least that had the decency to be like a 1 in 256 drop or whatever.
Ring of Arda, anyone?
Yeah.
The Symphony of the Night is very broken, as you can tell.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure. I mean, this game's only like a week old. I'm sure people will be able to break it in half before long. I mean, I don't think it'll probably. I'm interested to see where a speedrun will go because I don't think that this is the kind of game that even the best player can beat in under an hour. I'd happily be proven wrong.
Barring someone finding a big skip or something.
Yeah, because I'm not even sure what the requirement is for the best ending. Because here's the thing: even though I did get the bad ending, when I went to other places, I'm still getting tons of story sequences that sort of build up on what you're seeing. So
yeah,
it's interesting in that way. So I'm not quite sure. There's still these locked doors I haven't found the keys for.
Oh, I haven't found a key to anything.
Yeah, so I'm guessing it's coming up later. I don't know, but.
No,
Yeah.
sounds like you're getting your money's worth for this game. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, I feel completely satisfied with this thing.
That's always the two biggest issues I always seem to have with Kickstarters. When I look at back in them, it's like, okay, will it function properly? Because that's always a risk.
Mm-hmm.
And the other is, are you getting enough content?
Oh,
Yeah.
you get plenty of content. I mean, just getting the bad ending, I got a boss rush mode. Apparently, there's a bunch of free DLC coming.
Lots of it, including playing as David Hayter.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's cool because Zangetsu is a fun character.
Zangetsu. I'm sure there's a Zangetsu mode. I forget. I think there's still a couple waves of DLC due to come out.
I think they said like 12 bits of DLC.
Okay,
And
but
I
that's
think there's gonna be
good
some
amount.
paid DLC as well. But yeah.
Yeah.
Either way, it's pretty awesome and lots of content to keep you coming back. Plus hard mode, nightmare mode whenever you beat it, so you have a new game plus. Like there are reasons to come back to this again and again, and I enjoy it. Like I said, the more I play it, the more I'm just enjoying it, and really can't wait to see how it all comes together.
That's really good to hear. I'm very pleased because we've gotten burned on Kickstarters before, and to be fair to Bloodstained, they've handled the process a lot better than most.
Well, I mean,
I get notices right away. It's like, oh, we had this. You have these issues. Next day, like, okay, we're working on this. We heard you.
I mean, I don't think that like a lot of people bring up like this Kickstarter curse or whatever, but I feel like that's not really the case because we've gotten plenty of good Kickstarter games.
We've gotten more good Kickstarter games than bad ones. The problem was the bad ones came out like 4 in a row.
Okay, well, I should state that there probably are more bad Kickstarter games than good ones.
I mean, if you really want to look at even the really small ones, then sure.
Yeah, but if we're talking about high-profile ones, then your Mighty Number 9s honestly are relatively rare when it comes to high-profile ones. Other than Mighty Number 9, the only other one that kinda even sorta maybe falls into that camp is Ukulele, and that's only because that game's divisive rather than it being bad, even though I know that Derrick thinks
it's also a bit more ambitious with it being a 3D platformer.
Yeah. So, off topic, but the 2D one actually looks really fun, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah,
but,
I'll definitely check it out.
So it's just a really good game. Like, Mario Maker comes out tomorrow, and
at the time of this recording, anyway.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm gonna try to get this up, like, Sunday by the latest, I hope. But I'm kinda don't really want to play that too much. I want to keep playing this.
I gotta say, I don't have a lot of interest in Mario Maker 2. I have
Maker 2 for me is I'm bored for an hour. I can pick up my Switch and play some user levels and kill some time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
exactly.
Not really feeling the same void.
The Bloodstained it's like it's been well known. I've been playing through every Castlevania with these streams, and it really
you
does.
End with Bloodstained?
I'm ending with Bloodstained. People ask for it, so I'm going to be doing that.
Are you gonna do Curse of the Moon too?
Yep.
Because that game's also awesome.
Yeah, really.
That
we got
game's
two
great.
really good games out of this. Like, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah. So I guess just to end it off, what do you think they should do after this? Because, I really like this game, but I think that rather than a traditional Bloodstained 2, where it's another spooky castle or something like that, I would like to see Iga work on, obviously I'd like to see him do another Metroidvania-style game, but I'd like him to take the setting somewhere completely outside of, Gothic medieval Europe. and maybe try something completely else. 'Cause, I mean, to be fair, I get that not Castlevania is what we wanted because we weren't getting real Castlevania, so not Castlevania is... And I'm not trying to talk bad about Bloodstained in that way, because I do think it's great. But now that we've kind of gotten the game that we want, I'd like to see him do something more out there, in the next one. Although if there is just a normal Bloodstained 2 or whatever, then if it's as good as this one, then that'll be fine. But I'm just talking pipe dreams at the moment.
I mean, there's definitely different ideas, and not every Castlevania game took place within the castle itself.
One took place in the moon.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, which one took place on the... Well, I guess technically the Sorrow game?
Yeah, and Dawn of Sorrow is just some sort of cult compound.
It gets very weird.
Yeah. It definitely has its own unique flavor, even though they all come across as a castle. But I can see them maybe taking the Gothic architecture somewhere else, or
if you wanted to keep kind of the Bloodstained stuff going, I'd like to see kind of a 3D game, maybe. See what you can do with that.
Maybe. I feel like that requires a little bit more budget, though.
No, I'm not disagreeing there. I'm just saying if we could choose what he would do next.
Well, this game's been getting, as far as I can tell, pretty great reviews, and people really like it. So, if they're not stuck to a Kickstarter budget anymore, which, I mean, I think that they could probably get a publisher to pick them up for it. Because I guess people often don't remember that even though, like, a Kickstarter, if it raises, like, $1.5 million, that's a lot of money, but in terms of game development, that's not a lot of money. So,
that's the amazing thing. This was done with a $4.5 million budget.
Yeah. So, I think that if they got a publisher to pick them up, they could make that work. Because I think a 3D Metroidvania would be cool. There aren't really too many games like that. Like the only
aside from the Prime games.
The Prime games, yeah. I mean, there are some games that have elements of it, like Dark Souls, apparently.
Yeah, it
kind of has Metroid
little bit
elements, but that's also not... I feel like Metroidvanias are inherently supposed to be kind of relaxing to play, and I don't think anybody would describe Dark Souls as relaxing. So,
they've definitely attempted in the past with Curse of Darkness and the Castlevania 64 games, and they do have a Castlevania feel to it, but it's not. The locations have always felt a little more flat than what you get with the 2D Castlevanias.
That's why I'm saying I would like to see him. Now that he's not beholden to Castlevania specifically, to maybe try something similar in a 3D vein.
Did he go work on any of the 3D Castlevanias?
Oh, yeah, he did. The PS2 ones.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Which, to be fair, Lament of Innocence isn't a bad game. It's just kind of meh.
Yeah, it's a fine game. It's great music. That's always. Curse of Darkness is definitely better, though. I actually really recommend that one. I think that is the best 3D Castlevania game that's beyond Lords of Shadow, and even then it's better than a couple of the Lords of Shadow games. So there you go. I need to see the ending to see where Miriam's story ends up, whether or not we're going to get descendants like we have with the Belmonts, or whether it's going to be Miriam each time. We'll find out.
Hopefully there's no dumb endgame quest that kills the pacing, because that would be dumb and stupid.
I have not seen that yet.
Okay, well that's good to hear.
The quests all seem like there's really just a couple types of quests. You got your killing all your monsters, which, by the way, is awesome because of who you're avenging. There is a lot of winks and nods to Castlevania.
Well, yeah, there was like a Simon and a Trevor and...
oh, yeah. Name a. There's a Soleil from Castlevania Belmont's Revenge on Game Boy. There's Richter,
they're all
there's Sypha,
they're all Castlevania
Grant. Oh, not all of them, but I'd say 75% of those are characters from Castlevania, which is pretty awesome for who you're avenging.
The other 25% are probably Kickstarter backers. Actually.
Yeah, that's probably pretty likely. But you have those missions. You have bring me this item mission. You have the cooking missions, and then I think the only other type of side quest that you can come across is there's this guy that keeps ending up lost.
I found him twice so far.
Oh, okay. Wow, you found him the second time much earlier than I did. So I need to find him his second time because I only found him a second time.
Where did you find him the second time?
Behind a waterfall in a secret
Okay,
area.
that's where I did too. So.
Oh, okay.
So
You got to the
he's
waterfall
pro-
sooner than I did.
Okay, so
Yeah.
he's probably a scripted sequence.
Yeah, I just hope that I don't find the room he's supposed to be in before he's supposed to be in there, because I
Oh,
don't want to
that's always
have.
kind
Yeah.
of that's the nature of Metroidvanias.
I have a feeling that they structured it in a way that you won't get to that other area unless you, screwed up finding him. But usually when there's another room, it is kind of obvious that, hey, there's probably going to be something over here. Like I don't feel like it messes with you too much. And even before I get to the final boss, I have a feeling I'm like, okay, let's go find all these items and shards and all these other goodies.
Yeah. So, game's great. You should get it. John's probably crying right now that he can't, but it's okay. He'll get free time one of these days.
No, he'll be too busy playing 14.
Final Fantasy 14.
Oh yeah, Shadowbringers is coming out.
Oh man, that poor guy. Like,
It's nuts what's coming out these next couple months, because we got Dragon Quest Builders 2
Just this week we got CTR, Bloodstained, Mario Maker 2, Shadowbringers.
We got and early next month we got Dragon Quest Builders 2. By the end of the month we'll have Fire Emblem Three Houses. By the end of August we'll have Astral Chain, and then September, good luck.
September and November are going to be nuts, but yeah.
Maybe I'll get some time to play Secret of Mana eventually.
Oh yeah, the Mana collection came out.
Yeah. I actually beat Final Fantasy Adventure on my recent train ride, so that was nice. Finally starting Secret of Mana.
Okay.
So otherwise, yeah, Bloodstained's great. You should all get it. Thanks so much for the code. It's always appreciated whenever we get these little preview things we can do. Unfortunately, it came out right at TMG, so we didn't exactly have time to do it right after. But yeah,
I'm very happy I went in for the physical version.
What stuff do you get?
I mean, it's just a case. I mean, it's just a box. Okay. But hey, I have a box copy.
It's a nice box.
Yeah, it's a nice box with a slip cover if you want. Looks nice, and hey, it's cool. I have a physical version of the game.
Cool. All right. Anyway, go play it. It's fun. Night, everyone.
Good night.